Greetings. Welcome, Mr. Pripa. We are starting now the hearing of Mr. Pripa by Panel F of the Prosecutor Vetting Commission. I am Nadezhda Hriptievsky, chair of this panel. The Prosecutor Vetting Commission was established and exercises its duties in line with the provisions of Law 252 of 2023 on the external evaluation of judges and prosecutors. The law provides explicitly that this commission shall carry out an assessment of the ethical and financial integrity of prosecutors that are identified at Article 3, Paragraph 1 of that law as subjects of the evaluation. The panel holding this hearing consists of 3 members, and it was established in line with Article 15 of Law 252. I'm here with my colleagues, namely Laura Ștefan and Ion Grauer, members of the panel. Hello once more, Mr. Pripa, and welcome to the hearing. The hearing is held pursuant to Article 16 of the mentioned law and the Commission's rules of procedure for evaluations under Law 252. The panel is also assisted by members of the Secretariat. As you confirmed in your answer to the hearing notice, today's hearing is open to the public and media, and it is held with simultaneous interpretation between Romanian and English. Also, I would like to mention that if during the evaluation you at some point believe that there is information related to private life or view of your family, especially if we talk about third parties that you don't want to discuss in a public hearing, we would like to ask you to explain us the reasons. We will take a break and we will make a decision about closing the hearing for a part of it. Also, since our discussion is interpreted simultaneously between Romanian and English, I would like to kindly ask you to speak slowly for the interpreters to be able to keep up. Also, please do not disclose personal data, identification data of your family members, of other people that you believe should not be public. The panel will follow the same rules. Pursuant to Article 16, paragraphs 3 and 4 of Law 252, this hearing is recorded, audio and video. The video recording of a public hearing shall be published on the Commission's website within 3 days from the hearing. At the end of this hearing, Mr. Pripa, you will be offered the opportunity to make a closing statement if you want to. Now, I will start by briefly explaining the process of your evaluation. Namely, you were notified by email about the evaluation beginning on 24th of May 2024, and you submitted declaration of assets and personal interests for the last 5 years, including the list of close people that are working in the judicial prosecution service and as well as in the public service, as well as a questionnaire on ethical integrity as provided for by Article 12, paragraphs 3 and 4 of Law 252. You submitted the requested documents filled out, signed with appropriate annexes within the established deadline, namely on 13th of June 2024. As a result of the random allocation of your evaluation case among the Commission panels, your case was assigned to Panel B later on, and you were informed about that. Your case was reassigned to Panel F, and on November 18th, 2025, you were informed about changes in the membership of Panel F. During the evaluation, you have never requested the recusal of a Commission member. During the evaluation, the Commission collected information about the subject and his close persons in order to determine subject's compliance with ethical and financial integrity criteria as provided for in Article 11 of the Law 252. The panel analyzed, assessed the information collected in terms of their accuracy and relevance, and in case of issues or unclarities found during the evaluation process, from these information the panel asked clarification question and requested additional information, confirmation documents from the subject, from you. To this end, the subject answered 2 clarification question rounds asked on 27th of January and 6th of March 2026. You answered in time to all of the questions and provided all of the documents that were requested. Based on the collected information, on 9th of April 2026, the panel notified the subject that it finished analyzing the information and sent the hearing notice to the subject, expressing certain doubts about the ethical and financial integrity as per Article 11 of Law 252, which are to be discussed during the hearing. You confirmed the receipt of the notice and you received the case file materials on April 17th, 2026. I have 2 clarification questions now, and after that we are going to proceed to the questions mentioned in the hearing notice. The first question: do you want to make any additions or amendments to questions and information that you submitted previously to the Commission in relation to the question round or in relation to the provided documents? Hello, esteemed Commission. I don't have any additions to make regarding the question rounds or with respect to my statement of my position regarding the doubts invoked. So, do you confirm that the answers that you provided to the question round, as well as the information that you stated in your 5-year declaration and in the ethical integrity questionnaire, are still correct and topical, current as of today? I do confirm. Mr. Pripa, for information purposes, the panel received your statement of position that you submitted yesterday, but given the short notice we will discuss today based on the hearing notice, the panel will thoroughly analyze what you additionally submitted after today's hearing. So we are aware that you provided it, but we don't have a unique position about the statement of position you submitted yesterday. So from that yesterday's document, please only talk about what you believe to be really necessary. But I want to assure you that what you provided in the document will be analyzed together with everything that you are going to present in today's hearing. That is over with the introduction. Now Laura Ștefan will start asking questions. Thank you very much. And hello, Mr. Pripa. As you know, from the hearing notice for today, we have to discuss 3 issues. The first one is related to the real estate, the apartment in Belt that you purchased in 2017 for around 28,000 euros, which is 577,833 Moldovan lei. And you sold it in 2021 for around 51,000 euros, which is 1,067,267 Moldovan lei. In the interaction we had in round 1 and round 2 of questions, you explained that you improved that apartment, that you purchased it in an condition that was inhabitable, but not necessarily very current in terms of all of the fixtures and fittings that were necessary, and that you invested approximately 7,700 euros. And to do that, you contracted a loan of 5,900 euros in 2017. And I would like to ask you a general question that was in the center of our discussions about this apartment. How exactly to explain this major increase in the value of the apartment, even though the investment, even if we take into account the loan that you contracted, is under 10,000 euros. So you purchased it for 28,000 euros, you invested almost 10,000 euros into improvements, and you sold it later for 51,000 euros. Could you please explain, from your point of view, what is the reason why we see this increase in the value of the apartment? Thank you for your question. As I explained to the Commission in the question round, as well as in the statement of position that I provided, indeed, to improve the living conditions in that apartment in Belts, I contracted a loan in an amount of 200,000 lei. After that, we started to carry out repair works and improvements. Mostly, the works are the ones that were reported to the Commission and described in a lot of detail in the second question round, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that the price of the apartment increased much more, a bigger influence on the increase in the apartment's value, in the value of the apartment in 2021 was the situation on the real estate market of the Republic of Moldova, more than the repair and improvement works that were done in the apartment. In addition, I would like to say that, well, you don't know the location or the way how the city of Belts is, how it looks like. But I would like to say that that apartment is located in a quite accessible area of the city with a lot of ways of access. It was close to schools, light industry college, medical college, some malls, Kaufland, Slavena supermarket, Furchet. It was very close to a trolley bus stop. The apartment was in an area that is influencing a lot the situation when you have real estate for sale. That is the explanation. Additionally, as an element of comparison, in my statement that I provided to the Commission yesterday, I provided a copy of a sale and purchase contract of a similar apartment located on the first floor in the same staircase, in the same building that was sold by my neighbors in August 2020, and I sold it in February 2021. So the apartment was sold for 46,000 euros. Additionally, I would like to say that the owners of that apartment, those people are my godchildren, marriage godchildren. They purchased the apartment much earlier than I did, but they sold it half a year before I sold it, which means I know very well the condition of the apartment. It was almost in the same condition. The improvements that I made to the apartment were almost similar to what they did. I, in a way, copied the arrangement of the apartment, the style, and the price paid in 2017 and mentioned in the contract, the 28,000 euros, is the actual price that you paid? Yes, that was the price that I actually paid. Okay, if I understand correctly, your argument is that the real estate market, yes, I believe that the increase in the apartment's value was caused by the changes on the market compared to the investments that I did. Thank you. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions? One question. You talked about the accessibility of the apartment and the area it was located. So is that the area where the most expensive apartments in Belts are located, or the higher demand? Well, it is a sector, but it is called BAM. So compared to the center, well, it is second to the central part of the city. It is accessible to getting into the city, leaving the city from there. The house where that apartment was put into operation in 1997. It was a new type of building, and it was on the second floor. It was located in the middle of a house, which is also important. It's not a corner apartment. Thank you. I suggest that we move to the second issue, namely expenses for renovation and repairs for the apartment that you purchased in Chișinău. As you mentioned clearly, after you sold the apartment in Belts, you purchased in February 2021 an apartment in Chișinău, in a new complex in a demanded area, for which you paid around 58,000 euros. Sorry, 58, approximately 58. And you explained that the money came from the sale of the apartment in Belts. Sorry.
Când vorbesc doar, da. Mulțumesc.
Bun.
All right. This transaction took place on 25th of February 2021. After that, you started some repairs, improvement works that you assessed to be around 178,619 lei. That is around 8,550 euros. You explained that you used the salaries, loans, credit donations without showing the individual share of each of the sources mentioned for this expense. Well, we had a dialogue both in the first round and in the second round with you to explain clearly what was the source of funds for these renovations and repairs. In the second round, you provided us with a number of receipts, contracts, and other records, which show a significantly larger amount than what you declared in your initial declaration. So the total amount being around almost 14,000 euros. It was 4,500 euros for the works, then around 7,100 you used for materials and other goods, and 2,300 for the kitchen furniture. And you clarified that the expenses related to works did not include installing the inner doors, interior doors. I would like to ask you to explain this discrepancy and where did it come from, because when you filled out the declaration you did not have all these receipts available, or otherwise, what is the explanation of this, I would say, significant difference? This question, I found this discrepancy later during the preparation process. In round 2, additionally to the expenses that I mentioned in the initial questionnaire in 2024, I included the expenses incurred by our family related to the purchase of furniture for the kitchen, which had a value of, as I declared, 48,200 lei. Moreover, at that time, I did not declare the value of the price of the works, which I declared later. I understand. According to my calculation, these two amounts are a significant influence on... yes, indeed. The differences are resulting from this because the price of works was around 4,500 euros and the around 2,300 euros for the kitchen furniture. So that is bringing us... Yes, I did an additional calculation, and yes, that's what I obtained. And didn't you think to declare them at the beginning, or did you just miss them? I just missed them. Initially, the documents for the kitchen when I purchased, I got them from the company that I purchased the kitchen furniture from, but they were lost, so I couldn't find them. And because my wife changed places of some things, took some things to the countryside, so it took time I was looking for it, and then I contacted the company that manufactured the furniture. I gave them the date when we exactly purchased it, and they issued me documents, and I provided them to the commission afterwards. Thank you very much. Colleagues, any questions? Mr. Pripa, I would like to check if I understand correctly. You purchased the apartment in December 2021, and you are February 2021. Sorry, February. And you are talking about expenses you made in 2021 only, or all of the expenses that you made for the renovation and to make the apartment ready for moving in? So you purchased the apartment, as we unofficially call it, you called it now White Walls version, and the entire repairs and including furniture cost 13,900 euros, or are these expenses that you incurred in 2021 only? Most expenses incurred in relation to the repair works and furniture were made in 2021. Partially, they expanded into 2022, and even the lighting fixtures, they were installed later. But most expenses were incurred in 2021. The works, the person that was hired to do it, the payment was done in installments, and I heard the last installment was done in February, March 2022. I think that was the agreement between us. So the entire renovation of the apartment took place in 2021, and all these expenses fit within the amount of 13,900 euros, yes? Approximately. Well, including the ones that I declared additionally, 48,000 and the cost of works. When did you actually move into the apartment? We moved into that apartment in the end of December 2021 because it was partially ready for living, given that our lease contract for the apartment was expiring. The one where you lived between July and December? Yes, between July and December. Any questions? So probably it was 26th of December. It was just before the holidays. We moved because it was December that the house was connected to gas. When we received a temporary handover of the housing was in August, but at that time the house was connected only to water and sanitation, electricity, but not gas. So, if the house wasn't connected to the gas supply at that time, we wouldn't be moving in. So I have no more question at this time, and I don't see any other question. That means we can move to the third issue to be discussed today, namely the one related to the car, BMW, that you are using. It's a preliminary question. Are you still using that car today? Yes, esteemed Commission, I confirm I still use that car today. All right. I would like to briefly go through the story of this car, and please correct me if I'm saying something wrong. We understood that you got this car in January 2021. The year 2021 seems to be full of events in your life. You sold the apartment in Belt, you moved to Chișinău, you purchased the apartment in Chișinău, and also this BMW, which was brought into the country with Lithuanian number plate and was used with that number plate until August 2021. For the importing of that vehicle, you used the provisions of Government Decision 474 that approved the regulation on tax and customs facilities for when importing means of transport with a special purpose. So you imported that car in your father's name, who holds a certificate showing a degree of disabilities, which allowed him to import that car without paying excise duties and customs duties. You specified from the first round that you declared that car in your asset declarations because you are the beneficial owner of that car. In January, you were still in Belt. In February 2021, you moved, in the beginning of February, you moved moved in with your parents' family, a place that is 20 kilometers away from Belt, and you explained that you were going to work together with your father and you were using that car. Please explain initially, do you believe that it is right to use this mechanism for purchasing the car based on your father's disability certificate, even though you are actually the beneficial owner and you continue to use that apartment to this day?
So the information you provided when formulating your question is correct. I have never denied this information in none of the rounds of questions. I have never hid the fact that I am using this vehicle. In the wealth declaration for 2022, I also declared that though the de facto owner is my father, but the real beneficiary of this vehicle is myself, because, as I've declared, it was bought using my own money in 2021 in January. When I bought it in January 2021, I explained to the Commission the circumstances that forced me to buy the vehicle using this manner. Initially, I did not plan to do the import on the name of my father, but when I moved to Chișinău in June, and I studied this area in more details, so I have realized that no legal amendments were expected to allow customs clearance for such vehicles for a lower price. So I had a discussion with my father. I explained to him, and he agreed to help me. And also the situation of my father, because he could have the import at a lower price. So the disability did not occur in August. He had it since March. If I remember correctly, in March he went through the medical check. He was given the disability degree for an unlimited period of time, and this disability degree allowed him to import such vehicles. I do not deny this information. As I've explained in the written statement of position, yes, I understand that this situation raises questions marks, but this was a kind of support provided by my father to me, because during that period our family did not have any vehicle. We needed funds for other purposes. I did not have any funds available to procure a vehicle, because my priority back then was the procurement and repair of apartments, because it's very costly to live in a rental place. So in January, when you started using, when the vehicle entered the Republic of Moldova with Lithuanian number plate, it is manufactured in 2004, so it was an old car. So in January, your father did not have the disability certificate yet. No, he had disability certificate. He received the disability degree in 2019 or around that year. So it was either 2018 or 2019. But back then, the certificate was issued for a certain period of time, because the disability level was lower. But in February, because every year they have to go through the medical checkup. So in March, he was assigned a more severe disability degree, and so back then he did not have that severe disability degree. It's clear. Could you please tell me, do you have the certificate as a person who has the duties to support and take care of persons of disabilities? No, I do not have such a certificate. Have you informed the social services at the place of your father's residence about the procurement of this vehicle? My father informed that he procured the apartment. So when the apartment was procured, he gave up the monthly benefits for transportation, because a person with a disability degree is entitled to monthly allowances for transportation. So since the procurement of the vehicle, he gave up on those allowances. Is the vehicle equipped with an indicator showing that it is a vehicle used by a person with disability? Has it ever happened to you that the police officer stopped you in traffic and asked for the matriculation certificate of this vehicle? Yes, it happened. I showed it to the police officer, and they did not have any questions. Because when reading decision 474 dated 2016, point 18 says that such vehicles introduced in the country on the basis of disability certificate can be used only by the person with disability or the person that have the certificate of showing that they are taking care of a person with disability issued by the territorial social assistance units. And point 29 stipulates that driving a vehicle designated for persons with disabilities by other persons than those mentioned in point 18 shall be sanctioned and shall be deprived from the right to drive that vehicle. That's why I asked if you've ever had issues with police. So when asked by the police officers, I explained that the owner was my father, and they never asked for a document proving that you are the person that has the responsibility to accompany your father. No, they have never asked for such a document. Okay, so as a conclusion, after your father in February or March obtained or was assigned a permanent disability degree and obtained the certificate allowed him to import the car, and after you imported the vehicle in August on the basis of power of attorney, the vehicle was in Chisinau. You used it, correct? Yes, it was in Chisinau all the time, but I can tell you for sure that I have a very close relationship with my father, with the entire family, so if needed, I help my father with any issues. Every time my father needs some support, needs to be hospitalized. For example, last summer, both my mother and my father needed some medical checkups in Chisinau because of their worsening health conditions. So I helped them to travel to Chisinau. In addition, every second week I travel to the village in Drochia district. I help my parents with garden work. Is your father working? Yes, he's working, he's employed. And how does he travel to the workplace? He travels by public transport. His health condition is good enough for him to use public transport. So you understand the meaning of these questions, correct? The import on the basis of decision 474 means exemption from the payment of excise taxes. And excise taxes, in case of such an old vehicle, are quite high, almost 191,000 lei. So it's about 9,500 euro. So this is only excise taxes. In addition, there are customs duties. And the purpose of this government decision is to help people that need vehicles because of a disability. So these vehicles enter the Republic of Moldova without the payment of excise taxes for this very purpose. I do not have any other questions. Maybe my colleagues have. I have a clarification question. In your opinion, the procurement of this vehicle, does it pose any ethical questions? So now, if you had an opportunity, would you use the same mechanism again? As I have mentioned already, yes, it raises some issues, but considering the fact that this procedure was applied with regards to my father, it was not a stranger. It was not a person that I do not have any connection, any relationship with. So from the very beginning, I have never hid the information that I am the beneficiary of this vehicle. I have declared it. I am aware of what you invoke. I am aware of the doubts you raise. I wouldn't have repeated such a situation. Why did you buy this BMW? Couldn't you find a similar vehicle on the domestic market? In 2021, when these situations happened, you bought an apartment costing 58,000 euro, and you invested other 15,000 euro in this apartment, and you bought this vehicle of 1,500 euro. Couldn't you found on the domestic market a vehicle that wouldn't have generated so much trouble for you? Such a vehicle costed about 4,500 or 5,000 euro on the domestic market. And back then, that was quite an amount for me. And as I have already mentioned, the procurement of the apartment and the repair works was done with some donations and money provided as support by my parents that had a specific destination of procurement of apartment and then repair of the apartment. That was a vehicle that was recently brought into the Republic of Moldova. Its technical condition was good compared with other similar vehicles of the same manufacture year. A vehicle manufactured in 2004, used for a long period in the Republic of Moldova, was in a certain technical condition, whereas this one was in a much better technical condition. So I've never had any issues with this vehicle. I did not have any maintenance costs or big maintenance costs. When you ask your parents to help you financially to buy a vehicle, I believe that would be a nonsense. So parents, relatives would rather help you invest in real estate, not in a vehicle. So that was the logics, the rationale why I decided to use this mechanism. Could you please clarify if this vehicle was identified on the domestic market? Was it imported by someone else? Yes, it had been imported by someone else. So you found it on the domestic market? Yes, I found it on the domestic market. Okay, and the last question. Do you think that it's still legal for you to drive this vehicle? Considering Article 29 of the decision? Of course it's not legal, because I do not have obtained that certificate, because if I had the certificate as requested by the government decision, then it would have been legal. But considering that we have a close relationship, because he is my father, I always helped them. It's not a stranger to me. I'm not a stranger to him. I just want to make a clarification. So the vehicle was in the Republic of Moldova, and the import procedure took place in August 2021. So the vehicle was in Moldova. You obtained it in January, but the import procedure per se occurred in August 2021. As I've mentioned previously, there were some rumors that a legal amendment was expected, as it was in 2018-2019, to allow import. So if such a legal amendment were made, then I would have been able to do the customs clearance and pay the excess taxes. Thank you. I do not have any questions. I believe my colleagues don't have any questions as well. Mr. Pripa, thank you for your participation in the assessment process and in this hearing. The panel will issue the assessment report as soon as possible, in line with the deadlines set by Law 252. If you'd like to make a closing remark, you have the possibility to do it now. Thank you very much, esteemed Commission. From the very beginning, since 2024, I accepted this challenge, this external evaluation, as it is called. In the initial questionnaire in 2024 and in rounds of questions, I did my best to provide frank information and all of the information I had at that moment, as well as information that I obtained as a result of inquiries made to relevant authorities. I hope that I will have a correct and objective assessment of the circumstances found and assessed by the Commission. Indeed, it is not an easy thing. It's not a simple thing. The Commission did a huge work, and I would like to wish success and patience for the Commission. And to my peers that are still to be subjected to evaluation, I would like to wish success. I would like to encourage them to have the highest diligence in order to go through this process. Thank you very much, Mr. Pripa. All the best to you. I would like to thank all of the participants. I declare today's session closed. Thank you.